Hey everyone, my name is Hayden Garrett with Parker Executive Search. Excited to come to you today with really the next installment of mock interviews at ADU. I'm here with Hernando Planells, Associate Head Women's Coach at Duke University. So appreciate your time, Hernando. We'll dive right in if that works for you.
Hayden, I'm ready, man. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. We'll have some fun. So first question for you. Love your background, love your experiences, highly diverse from that perspective. But talk to me a little bit about just who you are as a person and why you want to be the next head coach at State U.
You know, I grew up in Los Angeles, and I'm one of those people that have so many different opportunities all around the world in terms of different jobs that I've had. But I've always wanted to be a coach. And the funny thing is I didn't want to just be a coach just to go in X's and O's and teach people the next play. It was really, I wanted to tell people what to do. You know, that was my very beginning as a coach. And then when I got into coaching, I realized that it's so much more than that. It is, you're leading young people to be the next generation of leaders. And when I saw that, I saw the impact that I could make in my role. And from there, I wanted to grow as a coach, as a leader, as a confidant, all those different things to help shape other people. You know, growing up in Los Angeles, my parents gave me a great life. I was able to see so many different things. I think, like you mentioned, you know, background, I worked in film, I worked in pro basketball, worked in 3 different countries. You know, all those different experiences has helped me be prepared for this next great opportunity at State U so that I can offer just a different view on leading a program to another level.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate those thoughts. And let's continue to dive in here. Leadership. It's a broad idea. Yeah. It's a broad topic, millions of books and things. But my question to you on leadership is, you know, describe your leadership style in this day and age with the type of student athletes that you are going to be leading here at State U. High level, talk to me about your leadership style and kind of how you attack the day.
You know, right now it has evolved over time. So I've been on this earth for 41 years. And
right.
I was a high school coach and junior college coach in my 20s. And when you're that age, you are a screamer, you are a yeller, you are a disciplinarian to the fullest in many ways, because that's what you see other people do.
Sure.
You know, you are coached the way you were coached. You know, you lead the way you were led. So I saw that and I thought that was the way to go. And as I transitioned to working on films, as I transitioned to working, you know, on the pro basketball side, I saw that relationship building was and is the most important thing when it comes to leadership. You know, you cannot lead if you don't have a great relationship with the people who are around you. So I really dove into that. I dove in how to build great relationships. You know, everyone says they're great at it, but what are the qualities? So it's getting to know a person. It's getting to know their family. It's getting to know that what drives them. What is their intrinsic motivation that you could pull out so you could help them be better. And when you're a leader, you can be a leader at any position, at any level, at any spot you are. And that's something that I really try and pushed our players to be. You know, at State U, everyone is going to be a leader. And everyone is going to be able to lead from the top, from the middle, from the back, which is so very important. And as a leader, I'm no longer a screamer and yeller. I have more empathy. I have better understanding. Just like you would in any other relationship, I do a better job of reading different things on how to reach the potential of different players. You know, I will have the baseline of a great culture, of a great program, what we are building. But at the same time, too, that we have different individuals. So every player has their own personality folder where we write down what are their personality traits. And from there, we use that information and how to effectively lead them individually and bring them together as a team.
Mm-hmm. So I want to expand on that just for 1 second here. Diving into the idea of, do you think it's your job to help the student athletes, to help the ladies really balance their academics and their athletic priorities among other things? Do you see that as your job? And if you do, how do you help that balance in this day and age of student athletes who are struggling as much as ever with depression and things along those lines?
I think in many ways, I'm a huge fan of embracing the struggle.
Yeah.
You know, life in itself is a struggle, but so many of us fight it, including our players, including myself at times, including the people around us. We struggle in accepting and loving that type of process that coaches and leaders talk about it so much. You know, when we are trying to teach our young women how to be effective, strong, driven women leaders for the future, it is about finding the time to do everything. It's about putting up boundaries. It's about understanding what they are going. Student athletes, our student athletes at you have a tough life. And as a coach, as a leader, I've got to recognize that. The other side, everybody believes that they have a great life. They do have a great life, but it's also a tough life. They wake up early in the morning, they got to go to school, they got to do the weight room, they got to practice, we got to travel, we got to land, they got to sleep, all these different things that we have to do. So a big part is understanding what is going on, still pushing the envelope, demanding excellence, and finding ways to help each one of them reach their full potential.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I love that. Similar realm, but my next question for you is the idea of mentorship. Talk to me about some of the most influential people in your life, some of the ideas that you learned from those individuals, and maybe how you use those ideas today if you were to come and be our head coach.
My mentor, my main one is Joanne P. McCauley, my head coach over here at Duke. And what she has taught me is that you have to let things ride. What I mean is that not everything is a life and death situation. And you have to understand that through this process, understanding and embrace the struggle like we talked about before, going through the ups and downs actually makes you prepared, makes you better to lead and to accept what is going to happen to you. I call her Coach P. Coach P is many ways, I say it all the time, saved my life in my 30s, meaning that she gave me an opportunity at Duke. She saw something in me that wasn't traditional, and that's something that I learned from her greatly. The other person is Don Casey. He's like a second dad. He's a former NBA head coach. He was former coach at Temple, and he taught me the value of loving life in general. What I mean is, basketball is our life, but there are so many other things that you can draw from that will help you in your main line of work. So whether it's art, whether it's music, whatever it is, it shapes you to become a better person, so you're a better leader and coach for your players.
Awesome. Thanks for unpacking that. And then let's go down this side of the equation, vision. All those things that you learn from your mentors, all the philosophies that you've been able to share in our conversation here. How does that culminate into a vision for State U? How do you see us going out into the marketplace? What's our brand? What's your vision for that brand? Who are we going to be?
So everything is based on one thing. We are building strong, driven women using leadership, communication, culture, so that they can win now and win for the rest of their life. And when I say winning, I'm talking about in every facet. When you wake up in the morning, you are winning the day already because you're allowed to wake up. So we take what we have at State U, and the very first thing is we want to see where we are as a program, and that comes from not only our players, where we are in tickets, where we are with alumni, where we are with administration. From there, we take a look at where we are, and then we push through our vision. Of course, our vision has to do with championships at any type of level, in any situation. It has to do with winning. But more importantly, if we can go and build our women into strong, driven individuals, then everything falls into place. And if you keep that as right there as sort of your main point, then guess what happens? Recruiting becomes better because you're going to recruit those type of players. The parents you attract will be better because of that. The alumni will see what is going on and want to jump on board with the fact that we are building something special. So the vision comes in very many different levels. It starts with step one, right here at State U, with what we're doing, how we're going to do it, moving it forward.
Yeah, and so building on that, I want to ask you, with that vision, talk to me about the things that you're going to tactically going to do first 30, 60, 90 days. Who do you need to meet with? What do you need to do to hit the ground running to instill that vision that you talk about?
So I spent some time with the Celtics and their NBA D-League team, and I saw firsthand what free agency looks like. When midnight hits, you're on the phone, you're talking to someone, a different connection with agents. And it's exactly the same thing in college recruiting. The very first thing that I'm going to do as the head coach at State U is I'm going to reach out to every single one of our players and their families and their travel team coach and their high school coach, anybody around them. We must re-recruit them. Anytime there is a coaching change, parents, players, even coaches look at it as a new beginning. Some players look at it as a new beginning at the place or a new beginning somewhere else. How do we get them to feel like they have a new beginning here? So we have to re-recruit them, and we have to do that every single day, whether on day one and day 1,245 of their senior year.
Right.
That's the very first thing we're going to do. The second part is that we have to basically take a look at where the program is. What I mean is where we are social media-wise. Where are we with alumni relations? where are we with our fan base? Those three things that we really have to dive into and say, how are we going to market our program? In a social media age where everything is visual, how do we put our program best foot forward? And the third piece, which is not the final piece because it's all part together, but it's working with administration. Building the relationship more with you, the athletic directors, admissions, academics. How are we building that together? How are we building it strong? Because I know that in any athletic department that there are so many parts that don't feel that they're a part of the program. It is my job as the head coach to bring everybody together so they can enjoy it, see what's happening, and they can really see the fruits of their labor for all the work that they're doing.
That's great to hear. That's exciting. Collaboration is definitely something
Absolutely.
that we want to take advantage of with the diverse backgrounds that we have in the administration. So appreciate your thoughts on that. You mentioned recruiting is essentially what you would do kind of those first 30 days with the players that are currently on the roster. Talk to me about high level, your recruiting philosophies, how you attack that, how you go about it, and kind of what your pitch would sound like.
Recruiting is something that I believe I've done my whole life.
Sure.
Recruiting from when I want to go ask a young woman out, or it goes to players, or it could be begging my parents to use the car, right? These are all part of it. So we're all trained in a certain way. I've been very fortunate, at Duke that I've been there 6 years. We've had 3 top 5 recruiting classes, and I've been very lucky and blessed to travel around the world to find the pieces that fit Duke and Coach P's culture. And it's the same thing that we will do here. I think even as the head coach, I still have to play a huge part in recruiting, because recruiting is the lifeblood of any program. So what we do is that first of all, and part of our analysis of the program is who is a fit at State U? Who is a fit for our coaching staff? Who is a fit with the culture of our team? Bringing something that doesn't fit is not going to work, which could lead to more transfers, could lead to more unhappiness within the program. So we must always keep that. But it's also building relationships. I've had tons of relationships all over the country with different AAU coaches, with high school coaches, with school principals, even internationally. A lot of the time that I spend overseas, you're able to go ahead and meet a lot of different people with it. So it's tapping into those resources. It's tapping into what you need as a program, first culturally, and then how they are talented. Because if you build that culture, that talent is going to come and be able to do it. But, any player, any parent that we talk to, our pitch is that you must see yourself here. And we're going to show it to you. We're going to show why you should come to State U, how you coming here will grow you as a basketball player, but also a young professional as you graduate and move on in your life. It's not just a 4-year decision. It really is a decision for a lifetime. And in order to see that, in order for them to believe it, then our coaching staff, our players have to live it each and every day.
So let me probe just a little bit there.
Please.
And you'll know where I'm coming from. Let's call it what it is. Our brand just is not quite as strong as the brand of Duke, right? And just quickly, how do you feel about recruiting under just a different type of profile, at least where we are right now? We hope you can take us to that level in the future. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, all of that is basically all relative the way I look at it, because I look at where we are at State U, the powerful conference that we're in. That conference propels a lot of different things. We have a lot of great teams here. So the very first thing we're looking at is how are we building a brand within the conference, right? Because we must build from the conference and then build out to something else. So a lot of it comes from social media. What is our message? What are we selling? And we're selling the university. We are selling the head coach. We are selling the coach staff. We are selling our players. Those 4 things what we're selling every single day. So whatever we do, whatever we post, whatever we talk about has to cover those 4 things, because there is storytelling involved. There are great families that come from it. So what you do, you take that and you grow it. And what happens is that when you grow it with family, with all these different values, people want to jump on board and be a part of it. Obviously, there was a big push when Maryland, Baltimore County beats I forgot that team, that number 1 team. Virginia. Yep. They beat Virginia. Yep. Now, they won 1 team, but they beat Virginia, but it wasn't the fact that they beat Virginia. It helped them. What happened was a storytelling that happened in their social media that has propelled them to more admissions, more people buying season tickets, all those different things, because they're able to carry their brand and their message further.
Awesome. Last question about recruiting.
Yeah.
You mentioned this, the lifeblood, the pipeline. Your son's being recruited right
Yes.
now. Great swimmer out in LA. Has that changed your thoughts and ideas on how you recruit at all, seeing him go through that process?
I see that personality goes a long, long way. We are working with young people, 16, 17, 18-year-old, who in their life, all they do is scroll through social media.
Sure.
They laugh at videos that I don't find funny, but that's what attracts them. So what's attracting them is personality. What is attracting them is a sense of comfortability. So when I watch my son being recruited, I see different college coaches who are calling, and I stay hands-free from it. It's very hard for me as a dad, as a recruiter, to stay hands-free, but I watch how he handles it. And what I've learned is that I have to trust my parenting for him to do well. And what I've seen is young men who has grown. And I see it a lot with our players that we recruit as well, too. All the players that we've had at Duke come from very strong families with very strong parents who are amazing. But once I see them, the parents take a step back, they watch their child rise. And it's just like anything. Everybody will rise. So watching how he handles it, watching other coaches, how they recruit as well, too, I see different things that I know that we can use in recruiting at State U. What are different pressure points that we could hit on that could really attract the player? College recruiting is they send out a bunch of mailouts. But if there's no heart or purpose behind it, just like home cooking for mama, then there is going to be no pull, no grab from that recruit that you really need for them to buy us to come into State U.
Awesome. So we'll go into our final couple of questions here. My next thought for you is, I love your background. I love the diversity, G League, international basketball. You were in Japan, you were in the Philippines. You had a lot of things going for you. It seemed like a lot of avenues that you could have pursued. Talk to me specifically about your passion for women's college basketball.
Duke is my very first women's job. I coached men my whole life. And I got to a certain point in my life, I just want to be involved with the game. I just want to make an impact with people. And I really didn't know what direction it was going to be.
Sure. Yeah.
I did all these opportunities to enhance myself, but the reality is they gave me a chance to lead their program and to coach at their respective teams. When Coach P came and gave me the opportunity to coach women, I was very, very open to it. And my very first day on the job as the assistant coach, I have 4 or 5 players coming in, saying hello, giving me hugs. Like, it's a different aura, it's a different energy with it. And I was reborn, basically. You get tired of the grind of coaching for so many years. Now all of a sudden, you have a group of young women who come in excited to see you, who are willing to work, willing to do everything that you ask them to do. And mind you, in a way that they're very cheerful and happy as well, too. So it tugs at you. I had that. The other part was my daughter is also a basketball player, and she loves sport. And I see how important it is for her to go through life and how to have examples of being strong women. So now I look at my main job, more than anything, more than recruiting, more than coaching, my job at Duke, and even here at State U, is how are we going to build these young women into strong, strong leaders? And how do I do it from a man's perspective? It's very different.
Yeah.
So that is where my passion really comes from. It really comes from that deep, loving ability. Say, what are we going to do to take them from point A to point B, C, D? Yes, there's everything else that comes with it, championships and smiles, all these different things. But at the end of the day, when I see them in 30, 40 years, when they're successful women in their field with families or everything else that they choose, that is when I know my work will be close to being done.
Sure. 2 more questions here. You seem to be very self-aware. I'm very curious to ask you this. What would be your 1 or 2 or 3 strengths? But then on the other side, what are your 1 or 2 weaknesses where you might need to cover those weaknesses with your staff or whoever that you surround yourself with?
Well, I think when talking about staffing is extremely important for us, at State U. The way I look at a program is very much like a CEO. You hire people who are going to do their job tremendously. So we really divvy up everything. You have clear goals of what you are going to do. If you're going to recruit, this is what you're going to do. If you're going to do scouts, this is what you're going to do. And it's worked really well at Duke, and it's something that we definitely will adopt at State U. I know for my strengths, my strengths that I've had to learn is becoming more of a delegator, but also the consistency in delegation and watching how you want the program to look like. Weaknesses, your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness as well too. And working with Coach P, she has encouraged me and taught me to delegate and get others involved, because when you're recruiting, this is mine, this is what we do. But I've seen it in my different coaching spots as well too, that how delegating is so important. The other strength I have is just being with people, is understanding who they are and what makes them tick. At the end of the day, you and I are sitting, and I'm looking what works for you, your body language, and you're doing the same thing as well too. Just funny, no one ever admits it, but it's the truth of what we're doing. And when that happens, then you have this sense that you could understand someone better. Now, the weakness part of it is then things become way too comfortable, and then all of a sudden you think you know them too much and you take advantage of those things. Okay. So it's about staying in your lane. It's about making sure that myself as a coach, I surround myself with people who aren't like me. I know a lot of coaches say, I want someone to think for themselves. I don't want a yes man or yes woman, but then we end up hiring them. Working in different countries, I have never worked with anybody who's a yes person simply because they don't speak the language.
Right.
So you have to be used to working with people who don't have like-minded thinking, have understanding, empathy, and work them all together, because we're all going to one straight goal.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts. I'm personally a huge believer that self-awareness allows you to have self-discipline, which allows you to lead well. So appreciate your thoughts from that perspective.
It's scary.
And really, really want to close with this idea. We're going to be interviewing a handful of other qualified candidates such as yourself, but I really would like to give you the floor to close and just share what differentiates yourself maybe from other top assistants that we might be interviewing later today.
There are a lot of great candidates in this pool. I'm honored, lucky, blessed to be here with you speaking about what I could bring to Stay U. I think one of the things that has been a huge part of my strength is my diversity. Is being able to live in different cultures, is being able to coach high school, junior college level, is being able to work in film and TV shows and understanding those type of people who work there. Because at the end of the day, it's about service. What you're getting with myself is someone who's service-oriented, who's here to serve others. And once you could possibly do well serving others, that's how you lead. And State U has been something that I have been watching for a while, when you see when will be the opportunity, hopefully, to take over programs such as with the conference, with the facilities, with the administration. All those three things, there is no doubt in my mind we could build a championship level team each and every single day. I definitely want to be here. It's something that I've wanted to, and I see that there are so many opportunities that we could build here, you and I, as we go through this process. I appreciate the opportunity. This has been a great time. Hopefully I've opened up and tell you a little bit about myself and why I should be able to lead this university to the next level of the athletic phase.
You have. Really appreciate the time, Coach. It's great to have you in here, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks so much.